When you come into the world, we take on the identity of those who are more powerful than us. What we're looking for is a kind of person who is looking for meaning. What's the meaning of life? Why am I here?
Hi everybody, I'm Alan Masters and welcome to the Sunday Conversation. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about religion. And the reason why is because throughout my life, my friends have said to me, "What religion are you?" And I always thought to myself, I don't know how to answer that. Because I never really affiliated myself with a religion. I just wanted to be a good person. I just wanted to be an honest person. I just wanted to be what I saw and talked about last week, which was God said, "I am that I am." And he said that to Moses, and it stuck in my head again, and I was like, I am that I am. And I thought, well, that isn't a religion. That was out of God's own mouth, I guess you might say, into Moses' heart, that I am that I am. And I thought about that after watching last weekend's talk. I thought, how interesting that I've never actually affiliated myself with a Christian. I thought, well, I must be a Christian because I believe in Jesus Christ. And then my dad says, but I'm a Jew, and Jesus was a Jew.
He's still a Jewish person. Why don't the Jews, I'm Jewish, why don't the Jewish people from Israel, why do they reject that? He's said something. Jesus has said something by doing it.
Do we have to? Is it necessary to affiliate ourselves with Christianity or being a Mormon or whatever, a Buddhist or whatever? I think when we do that, we buy into all of the things that go along with that. And I'll lay a little groundwork for you. This morning, my 19-year-old son says to me, "Dad, I'm going to go to church." And I go, "Oh, okay, good. I'll be talking." He says, no, a church. And I go, "Well, so you're going to go listen to some guy talk? You're not going to come hear me talk?" He says, "No, I'm going to a church." And I thought, why is he going to a church? He's got everything in his heart. And I thought, why is he going to church? So then he says, "Mind if I borrow the car?" And I go, oh, he wants to impress his friends. And I go, yeah. I said, but why don't you come listen to me talk? You know, what kid wants to go hear his dad talk, right? So I thought about it. I thought, well, am I insulted that he doesn't want to hear me talk, that he wants to go to a church? Well, this is a church. When two or more gather in his name, that's a church. And I thought, no, he needs to go to the church. But really what he was going to is his buddies. And a lot of people go to a church because they like the people. Now, I have a lot of Mormon friends right now. I bumped into some Mormon guys that are just great, great guys. And one day we were having lunch, and one of the guys says to me, "Hey, what do you think about Mormons?" I said, "I think they're really nice people." He says, "Why do people think Mormons aren't Christians?" But what happened to just judging a man for his actions and how he lives his life and how he acts and how he actually is every day? I think that is very important, is that we look at people and not paint them with a brush, say he's a Christian, he's a Jew. So I've been looking at this thinking to myself, well, what really am I? And does it matter if I have an affiliation? In this case, it would be with the foundation of human understanding. I want to understand what the foundation of my life is. And do I need to connect myself to Christianity or to Judaism or Judeo-Christian? There's certain beliefs that I follow, but I happen to love a lot of the beliefs. Hindu, there's some beautiful things. All the different beliefs, the Buddhism of Asia, some beautiful things in there. So at that point, aren't I just a collection of things that I love and believe in that take me closer to Christ? Do I have to affiliate? Do you have to affiliate? So that's just a question I wanted to throw out there. What do you think when you think, I am a Christian? Do you feel part of a group? All your buddies are Christians, so you're going to be a Christian? That's just a question to think about, I believe. I think that religion, and that organized religion, is a feel-good thing. And yes, it does feel good. My son, he's been to this church before. His friend's parents own the church. And he's like, oh, they say some nice things. I said, it's fantastic. But at the end of the day, who are you? What do you stand for? Do you live it? Do you live your beliefs? And living those beliefs, does it make you part of some group? Or shouldn't you just be the way that God said, I am that I am? And I think that in itself is such a powerful thing. I just feel like when somebody says to me, well, what religion or what church do you go to? What religion do you follow? I would say probably basic Christianity, Judeo-Christian, is what I've been brought up believing in my father and what he teaches along the road of my life. But I still feel like that in my heart of hearts, I only owe my allegiance to one. And I don't want to say I'm a part of this group or that group. I really only want to make sure that I do everything to make the Father in heaven happy with my actions and how I live my life. The other day, a man called and wanted to come see my father. He said that he had saved his life after Vietnam. I mean, he had never met my father. So he came all the way here from Massachusetts, and he was telling me all these things about my father. And I said, well, save it. Save it. You tell my father. So I took him to my father's house, and they sat and talked. I do believe there'll be some excerpts from that because we filmed it.
And I've been freed of that through the years. I deeply thank Christ for in his lifestyle that has came through you and helped formulate things for me as I sat quietly twice a day, and I have for almost 40 years.
I've listened to him for 40 plus years, and he says, it's so exciting. I said, don't be excited. Don't be excited. I said, that will ruin it for you. I said, just go and shake his hand and say thank you. The excitement is a feel-good thing. And then you'll be let down later on and you'll have to look for another feel-good thing, another drug. Because feeling good or being angry are those forgotten, we talked about here a little bit, opioids that we are poisoning our own selves with. So I'll change subjects just a little bit and talk about that for a few moments because I think that's important. Feeling good, getting excited, releases something in your body. I'm not going to try and put names on it because it doesn't matter. It releases something, you feel good, your whole body feels good. The same way when you get angry, it releases something in your body, some poison. Anger and being overly happy, partying, or whatever you want to call it when you get overly happy, it's kind of two edges of that same sword, can hurt you. Nothing wrong with having joy in your life and being outdoors and watching the ocean crash up onto the rocks and just enjoying watching nature and seeing the beautiful painting that God has painted on the canvas for us. And we have to give that appreciation to Him for just a blade of grass, a little caterpillar walking along. Have you ever watched a caterpillar with all those little legs working in unison and just think to yourself, gosh, that's just amazing. Our Creator is amazing. There was a king that was very angry about something, and he asked one of his servants, he asked him a question, and he says, if you don't get the answer right, I'm going to throw you to the dogs. And I guess in this time, the dogs would just tear you apart and eat you. So the servant answered the question, and the king was not happy with it because he was so angry. He says, throw him to the dogs. That's not the right answer. And the servant said, but I've served you for 10 years. Does that mean nothing to you? He says, no, you got it wrong. You got the question wrong. You're going to the dogs. And the servant kept his calm. And he says, can I please have 10 days? 10 days, and then you can throw me to the dogs. And the king was like, oh, okay, but then you're going to the dogs. So what did that servant do? For those 10 days, he went and he fed the dogs. And he befriended the dogs. So on the 10th day, it was time for him to be thrown to the dogs. And so the king was there, still in a bad mood. And he watched, and they threw the man into the dog pit. And the dogs came up to him and licked him and were kind to him. And the king says, what's going on here? What's going on? Why aren't they eating him? Why aren't they tearing him apart? And the man says, for the last 10 days, I've been kind to the dogs. And the dogs remember that. For 10 years I served you, and you couldn't remember that. He says, why is it you couldn't remember my kindness to you for 10 years, and yet these dogs can remember it in only 10 days? The king was so taken aback, he realized that his anger had gotten the best of him, and he let the slave go. So no matter what situation you're in, anger is only going to make you do bad things. But on the other side of that, remaining calm gives you an opportunity to let your ingenuity and your whatever it is inside of you give you the answer that you need. And that's what? Nothing I can do about that. The only thing you can do is stop being angry. How can you stop being angry? Come back to your center and realize that anger is a drug. So that man is drugging himself every day with his anger. He wakes up each day, turns on the TV, gets angry at the other side, and slowly kills himself. I said, you know what you need to do? You need to get up, get out of your room, go outside, take a walk, and ask God to help you, because He's the only one that can help you right now, not me. And the guy says, well, I can't even hardly walk. I said, well, pretty soon you're going to be in a pine box. So you have a choice. Muster up the strength, go outside, get some sun on your face, come back, maybe meditate for a few minutes, get down on your hands and knees and ask God to give you the strength, because you're just killing yourself. And I think that we all are just slowly killing ourselves with our poisoning of ourselves with our emotions. Jealousy, anger, judgment, even forgiveness. You watch people get high on forgiving. Well, I forgave him, so it's okay now. He should forgive me. It's so interesting. There's two sides of that. People that want to be forgiven and people that feel that they're in power to forgive. And so recently I've looked at that whole being forgiven, wanting to be forgiven, because don't we all want to be forgiven? Don't we all want to be forgiven? There's only one person that can forgive us, one being that can forgive us, our Creator. But we want other people to say, I forgive you, I'm okay with you now. When reality is, if you just change your life and start living the life that you should, being honest and honorable, with integrity, love in your heart, love your Creator, being thankful for the life that you have, people will see that. They will see it immediately. And they'll walk up to you and go, put their hand on your shoulder and say, you've changed. Something about you's changed. I think that's what my Father's teachings are all about, is to really teach us how to come back to our center where we are self-correcting. Nobody else can change you. That's why my father was a hypnotist. He thought I could help people. I can hypnotize them and help them. And then he realized they're hypnotized by life. And if I hypnotize them to help them, it's a temporary fix. What I want to help them to do is to awaken inside to the Creator's love, and then you help yourself, and every day changes. You get a little bit better every day. It's 1,000 little choices to do the right thing. Thousands and thousands throughout your lifetime. And you do it pretty much without counting, because if you try and count the grains of sand on the beach, you can't. That's what it takes, is just 1,000 times 1,000 little right decisions in your life. I watch so many people. I work with thought leaders now in the world, and so many of these thought leaders talk about meditation now. And I remember 20 years ago, meditation was one of those hippie words. You go into a hut and light a fire and you meditate. Not anymore. They're realizing that meditation, in its simplest form, is really just centering yourself with your Creator again. When your computer acts up and you just can't fix it, what do? You reboot it. Sometimes that's all there is to do. To me, that's what meditation is. It's just rebooting your thinking system so that you can think clearly again from your center. I think that's probably my message for the day. I am that I am. I don't affiliate with any particular religion. I think that I'll have to ponder on that one for a while, and I'll always come back and let you know what I think. But I think that if I affiliate with my Mormon friends or my Christian friends or my Jewish friends, I get pulled into that world of distraction. And right now, I'm looking to just find out who I am. Aren't you? See you next week.